Morning, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to another edition of Breaking News. Today is Monday, the 13th day of January, 2025. And as we begin a new week, our world is faced with some really profound issues. For us here in Southern California, the only story that makes the news, of course, are the fires and their unprecedented destruction. Plus, we've got strong winds returning this week, and we've got the possibility of reigniting some of the present fires as well as new fires arising. We also have the problem of arson, which we will talk about. And recall, the state of California is the fifth largest economy in the world, and it's indicative of what's happening here of the demise of the United States of America. We'll talk about that, how it fits last day's Bible prophecy. Well, this is the last week of Joe Biden's failed presidency, and he seemingly continues to do everything he can to ruin the country. Donald Trump will make changes that will be initiated a week from the day, which will alter the face of the United States, both internationally and domestically. Israel is supposedly close to a hostage deal with Hamas. This we'll see what happens on that. And also, we have this huge story as far as Bible prophecy is concerned. One we talked about a week ago. We have another one, the same vein. And the title is Russia Eyes Libya to Replace Syria as Africa Launchpad. And again, like we said last week, this is huge with respect to what it means with last day's Bible prophecy. We will explain what all that means. Okay, just a reminder, we're only doing breaking news 5 days a week now. On Saturday, our program, The Week in Review, is where we highlight the past stories of the week that have something to do with last day's Bible prophecy. Sunday is dedicated to Bible teaching on our program, Sunday Messages. And so there are no breaking news programs either Saturday or Sunday. I've been doing breaking news every single day since October 7th, 2023, without, I think I've just missed one. And I'm enjoying doing it and I'm able to do this. And I want to just say this. I thank you all so much. Those who pray for us, who support us. It allows me to be able to do this. I don't go out in public speak anymore. I have no more radio programs. I'm not doing no more TV programs. It's just what I do right here on the website, on the app, and of course on our YouTube channel. Today we reached a milestone. We get the figures in from both YouTube and our app, how many views we've had since we began May of 2023, about 20 months ago. We've just hit the 7,500,000 mark of views, and I thank you so much for it. And I'm amazed by it. Because I just didn't think we'd get anybody watching. And we thank you so much for watching and letting others know about it. We will continue on. But anyway, so remember our teaching program, we do our Sunday messages on Sundays, Bible teaching, Saturdays, the week in review, and Monday through Friday is breaking news. And so today, what we're going to do, we're going to highlight three stories that put everything in the picture, what we've been talking about with respect to last day's Bible prophecy with the United States of America in particular, and of course the Ezekiel 38-39 coalition that will form in the last days. It is amazing how everything is falling into place. So three stories to highlight this morning. Okay, the first one, California reports that an illegal migrant was arrested amidst the arson fires. This is a Breitbart story. Now follow me here. A reported illegal immigrant was arrested by police after California residents feared he would use a blowtorch to start wildfires in Los Angeles. So late last night, on Fox News, this was reported by a man named Bill Malugin, the man's illegal status. We didn't know who he was before. We found out last night he is an illegal alien. Per ICE sources, the man seen in the viral video being subdued by residents and arrested by police with a blowtorch near the Kenneth Fire in West Hills is an illegal alien from Mexico named Juan Manuel Sierra Leva. He is in custody on probation violation and has not been charged with arson, Malugin continued. He said, I'm told ICE will place a detainer request on him with the LA County Sheriff's Department, but they do not expect it to be honored due to California's sanctuary state law. Isn't that something special? Well, I'm told Sierra Leva will have a court appearance tomorrow. Now, get this. The arrest comes as California legislators debate legislation that would provide another $25 million to help the state's large population of illegals evade deportation before President Donald Trump's second term. Like New York City, the government of Los Angeles welcomes migrants because they serve as cheap labor, apartment sharing renters, and welfare aided consumers. Now, there are multiple videos of this man's arrest. So, state of California is actually debating legislation that would provide money to keep these people from being deported. All right. Now, on a personal note, I want to share we had an arson episode here in our city a few nights ago. Fortunately, the fire was spotted by a quick-thinking neighbor and the fire was put out. It did not make any of the newscast here in Southern California, but it was reported on our local city news, pictures and all. The identity of the perp is unknown, so we should not assume that we know who did it. Now, there are several possibilities, and we don't want to go into that now. We would appreciate your prayers because this is an ongoing situation. When we talk about the possibilities, it could be an illegal, like we had in the Kenneth fire. It could be just some case of arrested development who is a pyromaniac who sees the possibility of causing more heartache and that for people. And there's unfortunately people out there like that. And there's a third possibility. I've got to be careful how I say this, that there are people in our country who are from another hemisphere who have come to do us harm. We've talked about this. They've gotten through our porous border in the south. And I know for a fact from intel from people who are in the know that some of them are in our general vicinity here. And I'll just leave it at that. We don't know who this pyromaniac was, this fire starter, but a fire did start and near the freeway. Unfortunately, some quick thinking person put it out and the police got on the scene, excuse me, and looked for the perp, didn't find him or her. So anyway, appreciate your prayers on this. It's an ongoing situation, and it's going to be indicative as we get to the next story of why United States of America is certainly not a player in last day's Bible prophecy. Here's headline number two, another Breitbart story. LA Fire Department deputy chief slammed after blaming fire victims for being in the wrong place. I don't know if you heard this story. Los Angeles Fire Department, LAFD, Deputy Chief Christine Larson was criticized over remarks made in a video blaming victims for being in the wrong place during a fire. Larson, who heads the Equity and Human Resources Bureau for the LA Fire Department, spoke about concerns from people regarding whether female firefighters are strong enough to carry a man out of a burning building, stating that if she has to carry him out of the fire, he got himself in the wrong place. That's actually what she said. All right. Larson also defended the department's DEI hiring practices in the video, according to the New York Post. Now, the fire chief of LA is a female, and when she was given the post, it was a year or so ago, the first thing she said, it's all about diversity, it's all about equity. That's why I'm going to bring the fire department. Well, here we go. All right, so we mentioned this a number of times that the United States of America is not in Bible prophecy in the last days. And one of the possible reasons, like ancient Rome, is self-destruction, not having an outside source destroy us, but falling from within. And that's exactly what we see happening right now here in this country. Sign 11 of our 25 signs, we're near the end, talks about this. It's a free download from our website, Educating Our World, under the heading of Bible prophecy. And so basically, what we see here in the United States is the last 4 years is the DEI thing, the diversity, equity, and inclusion that's basically taken over everything here. And in doing so, they've got incompetent people in positions because they tick certain boxes of people who fulfill the I guess the requirements here. And the sad thing is when it comes to push comes to shove and you have this horrific event like the fires here, you've got very incompetent people such as the mayor of Los Angeles, the governor of California, and many others, LA fire chief and many others who are just totally incompetent, who are running the show here. And it's sad, but this is you reap what you sow, right? We're not surprised by this. And again, the U.S. is not a player in last days Bible prophecy. We are destroying ourselves from within. I know Donald Trump's going to try and turn it around and change it, but I'm afraid the train has already left the station, as it were, here. So we'll see. But anyway, these two stories, these first two, are indicative of where our country is right now and why we are not the superpower we should be. or ever probably will ever will be again. Now we're going to look at the most important story with respect to last days Bible prophecy. This one here is one, remember we did last week from the Russian website. And they had this perspective. Now we have one from a website called the Defense Post, and we link to that. In other words, we give you it's the defensepost.com if you want to read the story. It's really fascinating. It tells basically the same thing. It's a similar story we had from the Russian website, and the headline is Russia Eyes Libya to Replace Syria as Africa Launchpad. The fall of Russian ally Bashar al-Assad in Syria has disrupted the Kremlin strategy, not only for the Mediterranean, but also for Africa, pushing it to focus on Libya as a potential foothold, experts say. Russia runs a military port and an air base on the Syrian coast designed to facilitate its operations in the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and sub-Saharan Africa, especially Sudan and the Central African Republic. However, this model is in jeopardy with the abrupt departure of the Syrian ruler, Bashar Assad. Although Syria's new leader, Ahmed al-Sharaa, has called Russia an important country, saying we don't want Russia to leave Syria in the way that some wish, the reshuffling of cards in Syria is pushing Russia to seek a strategic retreat towards Libya. In Libya, as we've talked about before, Russian mercenaries already support Khalifa Haftar. He's a field marshal controlling the east of the country against the Tripoli-based Government of National Unity, the GNU, which has UN recognition, is supported by Turkey. Talk about this before. Basically, Libya after 2011, Gaddafi was eliminated. They've divided into east and west. The eastern portion is controlled by this general in Russian mercenaries, Haftar. The western part is controlled by the UN recognition. It's called the Government of National Unity, and that's sort of supported by Turkey. Now, as the article says, the goal is to preserve the ongoing Russian missions in Africa. It says Yael, it's hard to pronounce this last name, Harshawi, I guess how you say it. He's from the RUSI think tank in the UK, and he says it's a self-preservation reflex for Russia is anxious to mitigate the deterioration of its position in Syria. All right. In May 2024, the Swiss investigative consortium, All Eyes on Wagner, identified Russian activities as around 10 Libyan sites, including the port of Tobruk, where military equipment was delivered in February and April of last year. There were about 800 Russian troops present in February 24, 1,800 in May. On December 18th, and here's the key, the Wall Street Journal, citing Libyan American officials, there has been a transfer of Russian radars and defense systems from Syria to Libya, including the S-300 and the S-400 aircraft batteries. Now, we reported this within 72 hours. All the assets that Russia had there in Syria, the military assets, were moved to Libya, not back to Russia, but to Libya. All right. And so since Assad's fall, a notable volume of Russian military resources have been shipped to Libya from Belarus and Russia, said this man, adding that there have been troop transfers as well. Beyond simply representing a necessary replacement of one proxy with another, the shift is a quest for continuity to have Russia, have a continuity there where in this strategic location, said Emma Deeden Body, that's the name of the Atlantic Council's website, underscoring Libya's role, here we go, as a component of a long-standing strategy to expand Moscow's foothold in the region. This is huge. And also to disrupt Western interests. According to Badi, Assad offered Moscow a foothold against NATO's eastern flank and a stage to test military capabilities. Haftar, that general in the east, presents a similar opportunity, a means to disrupt Western interests, exploit Libya's fractured politics, and extend Moscow's influence in Africa. The Tripoli government and Libya's former colonial master have expressed concern over Russian movements closely observed by the EU and NATO. And Libya, of course, is torn into two blocks since the ouster of Gaddafi, as we said, in 2011, and everybody is trying to work both sides. Now, here's why this is so huge. We know from Scripture that Russia will eventually control Libya to the extent that when Israel is invaded, there will be armies from Put, according to Ezekiel 38 in particular. Put is mentioned as one of the geographical areas where an army will come from, part of the invading force, and the geographical location of Put is modern day Libya. So for years and years, we said Libya has to fall under the Russian sphere of influence to be able to complete the cycle of, the circle of these nations that are going to invade Israel in the last days. You've got Iran, you've got Turkey, and of course, Russia leading this, but you need Libya too. And what we have here now is the movement towards that. They will eventually control Libya to the extent. So when the invading forces will be armies from Put, like we said, according to Ezekiel 38. And this is, of course, modern day Libya and possibly even Morocco and Algeria. We don't know, but at least Libya. All right. As we previously mentioned, this is an important missing piece of the puzzle with respect to the invading forces against Israel. Since 2011, as we just said, Libya has been divided between East and West and cannot raise up an army that would be part of the invading force. With the fall of Syria, Russia is now moving towards making Libya one of its surrogates. And we document what is taking place in our book, 25 Signs. We're near the end, Appendix 7. We've already written about this. It's called Things to Come, the completion of the forming of the Ezekiel 38-39 coalition of nations that will one day invade Israel. And so please check it out. Again, it's a free download from our website, Educating Our World. And all the information is there showing how this is something we've been anticipating for years and years. And here now, with everything else going on in the world, it's falling into place. So these first two stories with what's going on here in Southern California, the legislature in California, the whole country, it shows the demise of the U.S., sadly. And it's going to happen. It's going to continue because we are not a player in last days Bible prophecy. And watching the response to the fires really points it out how weak we are and how impotent we are right now. Now, the firefighters, the first responders are tremendous. They are fabulous. They've done great work. In fact, we've had the people here in Southern California come to the forefront. We had a big event yesterday in Santa Anita at the racetrack there where people met and they brought things, goods, blankets, clothes, food, all kinds of stuff. They've donated that. And people came and took advantage of that as a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful outpouring of love. And that's what we're doing here, trying to help those that have lost their homes, that have, don't know where they're going to go and that. So there's a lot of that going on. So the people are wonderful. It's not the people, it's the leadership is the problem. And the sad thing is these people are here trying to make excuses, blaming everybody but themselves for what's going on. So it's an ongoing story, and we will continue to delve into it with you. But this is what's going on. So we'd appreciate your prayers this week. Like we said, the winds are going to return here to Southern California. Although the fires are getting pretty much under control, there's always the part of them, a possibility of them starting up again. But the real possibility of these pyromaniacs, for whatever reason, lighting fires here with the strong winds and the, again, like we said, usually we have 3.3 inches of rain by this time in the last couple of months, the first couple of months of the year. We've had 0.2 inches. We've got nothing. So the ground is set for another disaster if it should happen. So thank you for praying for us. All right, I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching. And as always, until next time, may the Lord richly, richly bless.